you give the instance of like when we're in it, it feels like a huge big deal. And then you give the perspective that when we're further removed from it, it doesn't feel as big of a deal. And I think that's true of anything, right? When you're in the thick of things, when you are in the forest and you cannot see through the trees, you get scared, you get anxious, you get frustrated. You're like, I can't find my way out of this forest. I'm lost. I'm afraid. I'm cold. I'm hungry. I'm alone, right? So in the forest, you have more reason to question and doubt and think and percolate all the different options, right? And you're just like, you cannot see a way out because you're in the thick of it. You're in the midst of it. And I think that is true with all experiences, friendships, and all experiences where when you're experiencing it, it seems just overwhelming and daunting, and it just you feel the heaviness. However, when you work through it and when you make progress and when you put forth energy and effort to get to the clearing, using the analogy of the forest, when you have a better sense of like where you're going and you see the light, I like to say light at the end of the tunnel, it's like you have a better sensibility of what your options are, right? So I think it's really important to realize that always feels hardest when you're in the thick of it. And if you can give yourself the time, space, grace to move forward, then you will realize that it's not as big of a deal. So losing friends in high school, middle school, elementary, even in college, you're like, oh my gosh, like it's such a big component of your life. Your friends are everything when you're in your teens and 20s. And then you realize that you are more important than your friends, that your life and your experience and your journey are more important than what friends will contribute to it, because friends come and go. There are cases where friends, remain friends for a long time, but the reality is that people change, we change, cities change, right? You can move, and then you don't have perhaps that friend in your life anymore. You have to focus on yourself. So I think when we focus on ourselves and the importance that we bring to the table, then you don't categorize the loss of a friendship as detrimental as when you once did. Patience. Yeah. When you think you're okay with something, we perhaps get impatient because we're ready for the next thing, or we think we're ready for the next thing. But in reality, we're not quite there yet. So we get impatient because we're like, well, what? I'm ready. But are you? Is there something else that you need to learn in this given state that is waiting for you to have that takeaway before you can move on to the next thing? And as an actor, I know this. As an actor, you get very impatient. You do. You get really impatient because you want everything to happen. You want to be famous. You want to book the role. You want to, work opposite your longtime hero. And things don't always, pan out that way. So patience is key, not an easy virtue, but once you have it, and of course that comes with age. And I'm going to say it again, the and I put a story on this, I think on my Instagram, the older you get, the easier it is to take a step back, not just recognize, but appreciate that things change, people change, we change. The journey's not done until it's done. And that is the coolest thing. Walking in your journey is the coolest thing. And when you can do that with ease, yes, patience, but also just elegance, right? When we can be elegant in our walk, in our journey, I kid you not, everything changes. And I promise you, the sooner you learn that, the easier it gets. And I can only have this sensibility and this tone of voice in the confidence of where I sit with this topic because of my age. And that's why I say it just gets better. And need not fear aging. Society might say otherwise, but I promise you, you're going to look back at your teens and 20s and you're going to be like, wow, I get it. I understand. So 5 pieces of advice. It's not as big of a deal and I think I alluded to that in my response to Vias, that what you think is a huge deal now, it's going to be a blip on the radar in some times past, right? And y'all know what I mean. Just a year ago, life was very different. And now you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, so much has changed, right? Um, Enjoy life because it goes fast. It goes way faster than you ever. Like when people used to say that to me, I'm like, okay, well, you're just saying that because you're old. And it's true, it goes really fast. Like I am just shocked at how fast it goes. I'm also going to say that when someone older, this is a piece of advice, when someone older tells you that XYZ is going to happen in the future, believe them. Believe them. I'm not saying it can't be different for you, but what I am saying is that, like, I remember when I worked at my corporate job and I used to wear these like high heels, and I remember like the older ladies being like, oh my gosh, wait till you get older, you're not going to be able to wear heels. Wait till you're older, you're going to have to wear Spanx, like all these things that like people tell you. And I'm like, oh, wait till you're older, your eyesight, like all these things, right? That you're like, that's not going to be me. It's interesting how it does kind of happen. So if you're blessed to get wisdom from someone older, like there's going to be some truth in that for you. And what I mean by that is you can either accept it and be like, oh my gosh, this is the end all be all, or just appreciate it. Appreciate that it's coming from a place of wisdom. And I think that's really key. I've learned that recently, where it's like older people have their years of experience, and that's called wisdom. And when they share it with you, honor it and just thank them for it. We're blessed to have an older generation that can, bestow their years of wisdom on us. So I would take that. I wouldn't discredit. That's the word. I wouldn't discredit older people's pearls. Yeah. So that's 3. Ay, Dios mío, Ari, another 2. Love this one. Stretch out the good moments, right? So when we're happy and we're like, this is so cool. It's so easy for us in our real everyday life to just be like, okay, that happened, on to the next. No, like stretch the happy moments, stretch the honeymoon phase of anything, whether you're just started dating, whether you just got married, whether you have a new best friend, whether you're in college for the first time, like stretch the yumminess that is a new experience. That's what I want to say, because that, I believe, is how we're happy for longer stretches of time. Don't be so quick to dismiss the good for what you think comes next. You don't know what comes next. So enjoy and stretch the good moments. So yeah, so that was the 4th. And let's see, can I come up with a 5th very quickly? Like, be quick to go with the flow, and if things change with it, right? Like my light just went, right? Like, a few years ago I've been like, oh, my light, why didn't I plug it in earlier? Why didn't I, plan for that? It's like, okay, the light freaking went out. Talk about first world problems. Like, really, if that's my biggest problem, like I'm scoring 1,000 today, right? So just go with the flow. Whatever happens, it's resolvable. One lesson I have learned is to always be kind to yourself. I love that. I will only destroy my self esteem more if I continue to criticize myself, as we are our own worst critics. I love that. And it's true. We've spoken about that on here. It's like we are our biggest freaking bullies. Like, would you speak to your best friend, your sister, brother, mother, father, aunt, uncle, grandmother, grandfather? Would you speak to them the way we speak to ourselves? Like, men, you make a mistake. Oops. Yay, I learned a lesson. A lesson I read from a fortune cookie yesterday. Oh, fun. You will find joy in the process of pursuing your hobby, not just in the end result. I had a similar thought, I think, when we discussed that. Oh no, I said confidence, but happiness too. Confidence, it's a journey, not a destination. We're not just gonna be confident and that's the end all be all and you're confident every day. No, right? Ebbs and flows. Happiness ebbs and flows. But if you realize that you're on the journey to happiness, then you're accepting of the ebbs and you're more festive during the flows. Festive flows, right? I love that. Looking back, I don't have any substantial friends from my college years. Neither do I. Most of mine have been through social groups or work, which is what happens. And if you switch jobs, your friends change. Again, there are just some people that are going to remain in your life for your lifetime, right? Far and few between. I have not found that to be the case for myself, but I have friends who do have long lived friendships. So everybody's different and not one is right or the other. I mean, you can't judge yourself for one or the other. So I think so many of us have gotten the rug pulled out from underneath us, that we're waiting for that other shoe to drop. And I think that when we have the happy moments and we bask in them and we enjoy them and we stretch them, it's not if, but when things change and perhaps not for the better, then I think we have something to fall back on that's more powerful and it's more encouraging because it cushions the fall. It's sometimes it's, and I've felt this, and you all who've been here with me over the years know what I mean. It's like you're riding a wave high and you're like, yes, life, yes. And then the rug gets pulled out from underneath you and you're like, what the freak? I was just riding so high. Why did I now just fall so low? And I think it's an opportunity to reframe and be like, wow, I was riding high. I can remember how high I was riding because it was so fun and it was so cool and it was so exciting. Okay, I'm back down. There's a reason for it. What is it? And if I'm not as shocked by the fall, I can get back up a lot more gracefully, a lot more elegantly. And I love those two words. My meditation teacher was really big on the word elegant and graceful. And it's like, she always said, her name is Emily Fletcher. I like giving credit where credit is due. She always said, when you can ride life more elegantly, then you show up differently. But elegant, it's like we want to be poised and elegant. And sometimes we wobble. But when you do, elegant wobble, it's more visually appealing. The best thing I can say is like visually imagine a protective barrier. Don't let anything penetrate it. And what's that saying? I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say jumps off me and sticks back to you. Like that's like a 5-year-old thing. But when you have this like protective bubble, like it bounces off of you and you have this like sense of like, they're saying it because they're upset. It's on them. I'm not going to let them interfere or, impose on my joy, my happiness. And it's so important because you could be driving, minding your business, and someone can like yell at you and honk at you and stick their finger out, and you're like, what the heck? And you want to take it like personally, and you're like, deep breath. That's not me. That's not on me. That's on you, dude. Just, I hope you find peace in your day and send them off. Why I wanted to be an actor, truth be told, is because I wanted to reflect back a world that I wanted to live in. So, and I was thinking about this morning. So when I first moved to LA, I got a lot of roles or offered roles that did not align with who I wanted to be seen or how I wanted to be seen. So I would get roles that provocative or just not the example I wanted young girls to have. And I remember when I first came here, I declined a lot of roles. Obviously not a ton because I wasn't getting offered that many, but it felt like I was always declining roles because they were seeing me in a very like risque way. And I was like, no, I don't want to play these characters. I want young girls to look at me as a different kind of woman in this world. And so fast forward, I am blessed to be a recurring actor at Dhar Mann, where I never have to worry about being portrayed as characters that I don't want the world to see. And that to me has been very important. So again, I wanted to have a platform for young girls to hopefully see themselves in. When I started acting, there was no social media. So you couldn't just open an IG and be like, here, right? I felt like acting was the best way for me to have a platform for young girls. And that's why I love that I wrote my book. And that's why I love that, we have this channel together. And that's why I love acting in Dhar Mann videos. Full circle, it's to give others hope for what is possible. And I think that is the best way to sum it up. All right, my loves, stay light and bright. Lead the way. I love you all. I miss you already. Bye, everybody.
Sayonara.
Just leave. Ah, you goofy head. Bye, everybody. You look funny. Ah!
Happy birthday, Jovanna!
Oh, honey. Bye, everybody. Have a great weekend. So if you liked this video, go check out the others. I got lots of videos on this channel, so keep watching.